It has been a long time since I felt excited about a farming game. Since I was a child, I played most of the Harvest Moon games, my favorite being A Wonderful Life. I even played Story of Seasons, and the ever so popular Stardew Valley, and My Time at Portia, which actually isn't really a farming game, it's more of a building game. And as I grew older, I started to think that a lot of farming games are all usually the same, and as a result, I didn't pay much attention to them. Still love them, and I'll play them regardless. But I always dive in expecting the same routine, the same mechanics, every time. But now, I can say that things are going to look a lot sunnier. Hey there! Recently, I came across a video by Dr. D-Dub, and the video was about an upcoming game called SunnySide. Now, I knew about SunnySide before, but I sort of disregarded it at the time. But since that video, I've taken a huge interest in it, and I've gotten to know that this game is doing things very differently than what we're all used to in past farming games. One of that being not needing to use a watering can. Now, Dr. D-Dub made a very extensive video about this game on his channel, even an updated SunnySide video. And I will link his channel down below if you guys want a clear explanation of what this game is about. Go check him out, I just love his content. But I, on the other hand, since this is the first narrative type video that I've ever made, I'm not sure I can convey my excitement about this game as eloquently and as organized as others, but I'll try my best, and honestly, I just want to geek out about it because I have high hopes for this game, and I really do think it deserves more exposure to the public. I gotta be honest, I wasn't feeling it the first time I saw it, and I was like, this looks like Yandere Simulator. And I take that back. I'm disappointed in myself because I underestimated it too soon, and I didn't take the time to think it was still very early in the development process. But guys, SunnySide is looking amazing so far. I love the environment they showed, and it has a sort of soft and simple look to it. And if you can't already tell, SunnySide is a game that's set in Japan. There are loads of Japanese elements here, from the sakura trees, to the characters, and to the shop buildings. And correct me if I'm wrong, it's not common for us to see farming games set in modern day Japan. Even the new Story of Seasons isn't set in Japan. That's why I found this to be very much appealing. Maybe because I'm a giant weeb, but I'm sure a lot of other people will be interested in this because of that. The character creator menu is a thumbs up from me. I love the fact that they're using sliders because 1, it's easy to use, and 2, I'm going to be more than happy to create a precise character that fits who I am rather than just settling with classic presets. Though there's nothing wrong with presets at all. And instead of being a man or a woman, you will have a slider that you can slide to wherever point you want depending on how masculine you are. Or maybe you're just neither. The slider will then morph your body into the body type that you want, and the clothes will fit you regardless of what your body type is. So don't worry, just cause you're bulky doesn't mean you can't rock a sundress. The clothing will not be gender specific, and is free to use for all. To my knowledge, no other farming game has done this before, and it is absolutely revolutionary. And I also love this part of the character creation menu because something about having an identification card in-game gives me so much joy. It just feels good to look at, okay? It's like I'm looking at my passport in Animal Crossing. Usually in farming games, you start in the city. Maybe you're miserable, so you move to a village to take over your grandfather or your uncle's farm. They already have a decently sized house just for you to use. Wow, special! But in SunnySide, it reminds me again of Animal Crossing because you only start with a tent and a sleeping bag. It's nice that they stayed away from the cliche inheriting your grandpa's farm narrative. I'm gonna feel like I'm a stranger starting from the bottom here without much help. There's one major thing I love about this game is the use of modern everyday technology. It wouldn't make sense for our character to not have some type of device in this day and age. Lucky us, in this game, we'll have 2 devices that we'll constantly be using, and that is our phone and our drone. Our phone is where everything is: inventory, save files, our settings too. Besides that, you can also receive texts and maybe even send them to the townspeople. Having the ability to customize our phone has me slapping a giant gold star on SunnySide because other than being able to change your phone's wallpaper, You'd also get to change its casing and maybe possibly attach a small little charm on it. Oh, and something really neat is that your phone's signal strength will actually grow weaker or stronger depending on where you are. Now, you wouldn't want to get lost in the forest now, would you? Building in this game isn't a thing you can do in an instant. At least to my knowledge, you'd first have to get an app on your phone called Build Mode. You use that drone to fly around your property, hell, you can even fly up to see the whole map and place location pins, which will be very useful because we will have a lot of exploring to do in the game, and then you place blueprints on the ground. There will be a little pop-up that shows you what materials you need, and so off you go. Go find the materials in the mines, in the woods. You can even chop a whole tree in the middle of town and nobody will bat an eye. Then you'll be using your crafting table to create things like plywood through the Companions app. Does this not remind you more of Animal Crossing? And if you look down here, you'll see a bed and storage boxes and lights. This makes me ask a lot of questions. Can you customize your building? Put some lights outside? Do storage boxes stack on top of each other? Or will we have a shelf? A closet maybe? Or do they just line up on the ground? But I would love if they stack though, it'll save a lot of space. And thank the heavens you can name the storage boxes, which will be incredibly useful. If you've ever played My Time at Portia, you know how confusing it is when you don't name the boxes. So far, the only way of cooking that I know are on the grill. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more cooking appliances other than that, like an oven, a stove, and a cutting board. And all those will have different UIs, and I am excited about it. And I assume you'd have to be cooking quite a bit in this game, seeing as you have stamina as well. Now I want to mention the animals in this game. So in PC, you won't have a limit to how many animals you own in the game. Unfortunately, in consoles, they will have to make some limitations. Animals need 3 things: shelter, food, and water. So you need a place for them to stay and a food bin as well as a water bin. Feeding chickens in the game is more realistic because really, you don't need to give the chickens chicken feed in individual food trays. Rather, you'll be placing down a chicken feeder and a poultry water for them. You'll also be able to keep pets as well. For example, horses. They're not going to be a means of transportation, it's just going to be your pet. Dogs and cats will also be in the game, thank God, and they actually will help you in your farm one way or another. Maybe predators will come to your farm to eat some chickens. I don't know, we'll see. And I don't know much about how the animal care is going to be like too. Do we need to brush them regularly or give them certain treats so they can produce better products? Much to think about. So one of the big eye catchers of this game, watering cans. Like I said, you don't use one, you don't need one. There's something even better, a hose. Now this is big, it's big, it's brilliant, it's much more real, much more efficient, and more satisfying to look at. What else do I have to say? You use a hose. But you will be able to upgrade and automate the water pumping mechanics, and that'll make things easier. But to power them up, you use solar panels, which the amount of power that'll be generated by them will depend on how much sunlight there is. So you won't be getting a lot of power when it's cloudy or raining. Oh, and forget about going to the store to buy seeds. We are going to modernize this. Just buy them online. You open your phone, go to the SunnySide app and choose your seed of choice. Then you'd have to select which delivery options you want. Next day, or a more cheaper option, economy delivery, where weather conditions might affect the delivery time. Now this is a feature that I really like, because having a game that feels close to how things go in reality is really neat to me. Like I have to think about saving money in a game too, and then I have to be patient about getting what I want. Now watch me save money better in game than in real life. But if possible, I'm not sure if they're going to do this, since we are going to buy seeds online. I wonder if we'll take the realism to the next level and we could potentially receive the wrong order or get scammed. I don't know. Some people might not want this, some people will think it's a fun idea, but it's a suggestion. I understand we can't make everything realistic because we want to escape reality, not relive it. But I just think a bit of frustration won't hurt. Take it as you will, I'm okay with anything. Oh, and there is no bin here. There's no big bodybuilder man or town mayor going to pick up your crops at 5 p.m. just like you're used to. You can't throw things in a bin and then wake up with money in your wallet. You gotta sell them yourself. You harvest them, you go into town on foot, and you sell them to the stores and earn cupels, which is the game's currency, which is the top part of an acorn. Oh, and it's worth mentioning that they will be having their own language, which will be closely tied to the lore. and I think there's something that's going to be called Language of the Ancients. But well, we're just gonna have to know about that after the game releases. Oh, and I said you'll be going to town on foot, I just meant you'll only be walking with your crops in the early game. But as you progress, you'll be loading your crops or produce inside a truck, a motorbike, or a bicycle, and then you'll be selling your produce in your own store. Now I know for a fact that I'm not the only one who's excited for the wet ground and puddle forming on the streets. This detail makes people go crazy, it makes me go crazy. Because it's just a small little detail, but you just don't see that a lot in games like this. Now look at your feet and the snow. You're literally making a snow path, and how the path will look depends on how deep the snow is. And I'm like totally in trouble because I will not stop staring at these things. And when it's raining, just look at this rain falling from the awning. Tell me you won't stare at that until the rain stops. Oh, and the music. Music is a huge aspect in games, at least to me. I want to arrive at the menu screen and just be drawn to press the start button. So let's pause for a second and appreciate the main theme for the game. When I first heard it, it gave me nostalgia. It gave me coming home from school, turning on my Game Boy, and going crazy on my Harvest Moon game. They nailed the first 4 bars of the song to make it memorable. Each song sounds like it has their own little, very special personality to it, and I just love it. I love it so much. Matt Thompson did a very good job on composing all the songs in the game, and I can't wait to play this game even more. So characters, NPCs, we love them, and if you're like me, you love talking to them and having relationships. If I can remember correctly, I think there are going to be at least 30 NPCs in the game, most of which will have extensive dialogue. SunnySide includes same-sex relationships and marriage. But you can't just choose someone here thinking, oh, after a few hard events, you'll give a blue feather and have a baby. No, nobody is readily available for you, and there won't be just straight or gay people. Some of them won't have a preference for dating, and maybe some just aren't interested in a relationship at all. It won't always be so simple trying to get closer to these people. Well, perhaps there will be some that are easier to pursue, but in reality, yes, building a relationship with someone isn't a clear path that you can just follow. You'll need to deal with emotions, some of which will be incredibly complicated, and we only know that SunnySide will be taking on the romance system in a unique way. SunnySide did say that their social system is heavily inspired by the Persona games, and I've never played a Persona game in my entire existence of living on this earth. So I don't know what to expect, really. For now, I know that you'll be doing what's called a Harmony quest, which at the end you'll need to make a choice whether to be just friends or continue to have a romantic relationship. If you choose the latter, you will not be able to pursue the other romance candidates until you break up or divorce them. And don't think life goes on normally after a breakup or a divorce in this game, because you'll face your consequences. The reason I loved Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life Special Edition is because you change your clothes every season, and the same will be done to the SunnySide NPCs. You won't just see them wearing the same clothes every time. They will have different outfits for different activities, and besides that, the NPC schedules would be a bit more complicated, as in you won't be able to expect them being in the same place every day. At the same time, they will have their own hobbies and will do different activities throughout the day as well. This makes it much more fun and engaging and just real. Okay, this is something new to farming sims, but the combat system won't be in real time. Instead, they'll be using a turn-based combat system, like ones you usually see in JRPG games. Some people will be a bit iffy about this one, and I was too when I first heard of it. But seeing as no farming game has ever really used this system, I'm looking forward to how it will turn out. And they said it's going to be heavily weaved into the game and into the lore. You'll have the option to take different approaches when in battle, and it's not just about killing things in a cave. There will be a reason why you're out there battling these monsters or creatures, and it's all in the whole story arc of the game. They're really keeping the story in the down low here. I know nothing about it to completely understand it or talk about it. And also I'm really curious about this little robot looking cat called Sparky. But I guess if I want to know more, I'd have to wait until I play the game, which will be released in the first half of 2022. But you can pre-order it in the backer kit, which I will link down below, And this month, they will be sending a streamer demo which will be sent to streamers and content creators. And if you're a fan of Dr. D-Dub like I am, he will be getting the demo and he'll stream it as well as doing a review on it. I'll also put a link to SunnySide's Discord server, and I highly suggest you join it because they're very transparent about their progress there. There's a lot of updates, sneak peeks, streams, and the ever so growing community is just filled with wholesome and friendly people. I don't know why you wouldn't want to join their Discord. The more I look and I watched footage of the game, I watched streams by the developers themselves, I'm like, wow, they poured a lot of thought and heart into this game. The fact that they're not afraid to share what they're doing with their community, it just proves to me that they're confident and passionate about what SunnySide has to give, changing the way games are made and welcoming everyone. And I am going to get the game no matter what. And once I do, I'll be streaming it on my own Twitch channel, which I'll link down below as well. If you made it through this far in the video or skipped around, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. It's the first time I'm even doing this type of video, but I know I tried my best. Because I've never been so involved in an upcoming game, and I really think SunnySide will be special in my heart. So with that, thank you for watching and consider subscribing, and I hope you'll have a very good day.